This video is on how to make fabric twine in a very fast way. This probably took me about an hour. This is cotton strips. Most of it was like pillowcases and sheets and scraps that I sewed together. I think this blue was a shirt, a dress shirt. So a good way to use up your scraps. This is going to be in a rug eventually. I won't have enough very shortly, but I did have enough in t-shirt yarn that I made. I was told you couldn't do it with stretchy, and I proved everyone wrong. Here is a stretchy t-shirt yarn. Worked just fine. You have to be a little more careful when you overwind it. You don't want it to let it loose and kink, because then you can't get it out. But besides that, this will be my candy cane rug very shortly. So I made, in about 2 hours, I made 6 skeins of, or shuttlefuls I should say, of the t-shirt yarn. So this is the tool I made. This is an alligator clip attached to a brass rod. You don't need a brass rod, and I'll explain in a moment. It's just what I could find. And it just, you could use any clip you can find. I just had this in my head, and this is what I made. So it just has a clip. It'll hold the fabric tight. I have double-sided tape on here just to give it a try. I am going to do Gorilla Glue on this one I'm making now, and I think that'll work. I think it'll be stronger than the tape, and it seems to be holding just fine on there with the tape. So these are the alligator clips you're going to need, or at least the ones I'm using. They're non-insulated. You find them in the hardware store in the electrical department. Not easy to find. Not everyone knows what alligator clips are in the electrical department. This is what they look like. Alright. This is a part of a brass rod. So I walked around the department store, the hardware store, until I found something that would just fit that. And it ended up being a brass rod. So it was a little more expensive, but it was still like $4, a little under $4. So for under $10, I'm going to be making 4 of these, and I'll have enough brass rod. It was like a 4-foot section. I've already cut 4 pieces, and I have that I can cut down in 2 or 3 pieces. I am making them longer. So there's the brass rod. I am making them longer because you'll have some extra material hanging out here, and it's going to wrap around, and I don't want it to wrap around here, so I let it wrap around here. So we are going to put one together. So here is my alligator clip. I already put this one together, so I'll be gluing that one shortly. And they have a little like push-in spot there, so I just have to wiggle it over it, but it makes it nice and tight. This other one, I didn't go all the way up. I'm going to go as far as I can, because I found on that one the weakest spot is actually right here where this hole is. Remember, these are for electrical wires or something. I'm not exactly sure, so I'm sure it has a use, but on here it makes it a little weaker. So that now it's definitely not going to bend right there. There's not a lot of pressure on this, so I'm not too worried, but I might as well strengthen it where I can. So that is on there. I am now going to glue both of these and let them dry. And that is how fast I'm going to make these. Pull it out and put it back in so the glue can get everything. And I'm going to be generous. Take this other piece so it dries in the air, because I got glue all the way around it. I think I'm also going to do that little hole that's there. Now that we made these, we are all set to make fabric twine. You're going to need your drill and insert your new tool inside. Make sure it's nice and tight. You're going to need 2 clips. This is a potato chip bag clip. I find it clips on a lot of stuff. I'll use a tote. I find that pretty easy to clip it on. This little clip is pretty strong. It's actually got a magnet on it. I do recommend that. Wasn't by choice, it was by accident, and it's become very useful. So a magnetic refrigerator paper holder. It's pretty strong. That one is for your twine as you're working, and this one is to start it out. And then a glue gun. It's optional. It did make it faster so I can make a continuous long piece. I make rag rugs, so it's nice to have a lot. This is probably, I don't know, 40 feet, maybe more, of twine. So I want to keep going as much to fill my shuttle with. So that is optional. It really works. The glue is just a small dab to connect it. It's still flexible and you won't have a problem. If you feel like sewing, then feel free, but this is how I make it. And of course, scissors. Now let's make some twine. To start, I take my 2 strips. I have about 8 or 10 feet sewn together for each one. Just overlap and tie a knot. I do want to leave somewhat of a tail, so don't put it all the way toward the end. And there's my tail. And then clip it to whatever. I'm using the tote. And if I can go like this and it's not coming out, that will be strong enough because that's the most tension that will be on when we twist. Now this is where the magic happens. So there is quite a bit I'm going to make for the twine right now. I have a long strip. This is about how far as I can go, so I'm going to cut these, and I want them a little bit different because you don't want the joins in the same spot. So one's longer, one's shorter. And I will use those pieces. I'll just add them on later. I want to take the one that's more towards the right. I'm going to do that one first. It doesn't matter, but I want to make sure this other one is far enough apart where this one's not going to hook it. I just kind of put it on the floor over there. Make sure you have your clip. And crazy enough, I have a steak knife because it sticks right nice to it, so if the tension gets too tight, it's going to want to pull. Alright. Clip on. Make sure it's not going to come out. And I like to go clockwise for both of them, and then I'll go counterclockwise. I just stay, it doesn't matter what way you start is the way you're going to have to continue going. So here we go. This is a little longer, so I'm going to want to make sure it goes this way over the shaft and not over this. And just go. And you can feel it want to pull that way because it's shrinking up because it's winding. That's what we want. The reason I cut that tail, because you'll spend more time unwrapping this than you will unwrapping it. If you want to get fancy, you can put a little more extra twist in it. Put it in reverse. And watch it come off. Ooh, here comes my extra tail. Oh. I don't have to undo it. Okay. Unclip. Add this clip. It's going to want to spin on you, so you want to hook it on something, and then grab your other one. Again, I'm going the same direction. I went with that one. Feel it start pulling. Unwrap. Grab my clip, put my two pieces together, and clip it back on. Make sure they're both in the teeth. There's a little space here. It will pull out if you just have one in there. So both are in there. I switched my drill the other way, so in reverse. Now it's going to spin this way. And you can touch this, it's not a big deal. And now it's twining the two together. Yeah. Feel it really pulling now, so this is where I'm going to stop. Unwind all of this. And you're going to need your clip again. You can clip it right on there and then undo that. And this is where you're going to be a little scared because you're going to think it's going to untwine. There's a lot of extra tension in there. I made this a little softer. You could make it a little tighter, but for the rag rugs, I want it to be softer to pack in. But it's going to come undone a little bit. Or actually all the tension. You can still see it's all braided. And the reason you do the clip, because it will stay together except for the tension of spinning, it's going to unspin it, so, or pull it apart. So, there we go, fabric twine. Still spinning with it, and it's held together, no clip, it'll stay together for you. And now we'll add on and I'll show you how I do that. Alright, so here's where I have it clipped. Get all of that in there. Get to the end, I'm going to unclip it. And now it's reclipped. And then here is the end of it. I'm going to put a small dab on there. You might not be able to even see that. This is the piece I cut off, so I'm just joining it back up. Press it with my finger so the glue gets spread about. If you want, roll it. But it is attached and not going anywhere. If you want to sew it, that's the good spot to do it. If you don't like to use the glue, I'm going to do the same thing with these. There we go. Small dab, glue, press it so my glue's all spread out. When I did the t-shirt yarn, it really soaked in and had no problem also. So here's the cotton. And these are tight enough. This is where I join this one. It's not going anywhere. I'm going to make these a little longer. And twist again. That's how you make the twine.